Now we are getting into the Primavera P6 part where we're going to learn about this software. So, a few basics about this software. It's Oracle Primavera P6. It's an integrated project management solution. It uses a web-based technology and a standalone Oracle XE or a network-based Oracle and MS SQL Server database. It was launched in 1983, and the most recent version is version 19.12. So yes, it's been there in the market for a long time and used widely over the globe by the top organizations. Even NASA also uses Primavera for its complex projects, mainly meant for such complex projects, and gives you an it gives you a lot of facilities, gives you a lot of flexibility in dealing with those complex projects, and helps you to control and coordinate better. And the most commonly used functions, we have to stipulate them down, is project structuring, schedule management, schedule implementation, project customization, and import and export of data. So all these we're going to study in detail through a case study there, how it structures the project, the entire from the portfolio level to the organizational breakdown level there, does everything Primavera. Schedule management, it's a specialized software for schedule management. We have to where you can do the breakdown of the entire scope, the work breakdown also, and you can customize it based on the requirements. Schedule implementation, it actually generates the baseline. It gives you all the details that you need to know regarding the project and its schedule, and also doing the critical path analysis gives you the critical activities. Project customization, you can keep a track on them. You can see your costs. You can track your resources. You can customize your allocations and also import the data. It also has a web-based server where you can do it online on a cloud database, where from a particular central network, a number of projects can be controlled at the same time by an organization at a portfolio level. So these are the most commonly used functions that we get out of Primavera P6. So of all that functions that we learned, now what the basic outputs, what we get. Like, now coming into more of a very construction and an industry oriented output of Primavera P6 in construction project management, we get the WBS, the work breakdown structure. We get the baseline schedule that we have talked about before. We get the project resource allocation and leveling, all the resources, be it manpower, equipment, material, whatever is being used there. And also we get the cost budgets and variances. We can track and monitor, and also we can generate progress reports. These are all parts of the planning, monitoring, and controlling process. So Primavera integrates all that process into a very robust project control system. So this is the biggest advantage that it provides us. Now we move into the case study. Now this is through this case study, we'll see the application of Primavera. We're applying it in any project. So the project I've chosen is Kashinagar project. It's a residential project, basically the phase one, and it is a 14 acres of land. Basic details I'm giving: 400 numbers of dwelling units, parking 2,774 dwelling units, 36 towers, and 20 floors each. So basically, the major methodology, if we talk about the major method, we have decided is to go with the monolithic construction technology using aluminum formwork. That is because of the time frame. It's very tight scheduled project there. So using the aluminum formwork gives us the advantage of constructing monolithically every floor at a very quick time cycle. So it helps us to attain the duration and the target date easily. So we are using that now. I'm specifically saying this aluminum formwork because we'll see how we implement this idea. The project methodology gets implemented in Primavera. I'll show you that also in this case study. The overall completion is 1190 days from the letter of acceptance. Project value of 1500 crores. Planning and scheduling done using Oracle Primavera P6 version 16. Scope of work. Now, the first thing in planning, what we had learned to understand the scope, like what we need to do in this project. It's an EPC project, like the project where we need to design, procure, and also construct. So here, the overall design and detailed engineering is in the scope. Procurement is in the scope. Construction of buildings, school, and dispensary is also in our scope. So basically, this entire residential area will have the buildings, with that a school and a dispensary. Then we have the MEP services, the architectural work, landscaping and podium work, and road and pavement. So all this is in our scope. Now, the important thing is, now all this scope, now how do Primavera, we can handle it with the Primavera software, like how do we can put it in a particular way to ensure proper schedule management that we had learned is one of its functions. But before that, we're going to see the project structure. Now see, this is the basic project structuring that can be done with Primavera, where we have you can see on the left hand side the EPS, which is basically a company name, maybe an L&T. Below that, there are three branches, like L&T may have L&T ECC, hydrocarbon, or an infrastructure. And then down one more level, you can see an under L&T, maybe infrastructure, we have three other projects, or under hydrocarbon, we have three other projects, the marine projects or an LNG project, whatever it is. And under that, under each project, now what we're going to do, we're going to start scheduling and doing the schedule management of every project, WBS 1, 2, 3. So that is the basic idea. And then we have also on the right hand side, you can see how we are doing the organizational breakdown. So that can also be done in Primavera P6 with giving the leading role to a project manager and having other resources working under them in that project. Now we come to the schedule management part. So what scope that we saw early on. So all the scope, now you can see this is how Primavera will give us the actual output when we create the WBS as per the scope. You see, the first thing is written here is preliminary. Then there is design engineering. There is procurement. Then comes the construction work. Then comes the phase one services, phase 1B services. Then there is dispensary and commercial building, primary school, utilities, civil work, pavement, landscaping, electrical work, and completion. Now, this is all based on the scope that we have in the contract. It's an EPC contract, as I said, and we have broken it down into the required scope terms there. So this is exactly what we had in scope, and we have broken it down into the required WBS. And this is the output that Primavera gives. You can give this schedule to any high level or top management official who can see how the major activities are going to be scheduled. You also get a timeline on the right hand side to get a basic understanding of the project. Now, from schedule management to schedule implementation. Now, this has to be seen very carefully. This is how Primavera generates its baseline. This is how it will be shown there. For this, this is one part of that baseline. It's a long program. You can see on the top, on the left, it's excavation and wrap foundation. For excavation, you'll also be requiring resources. So we'll come into that later. So for excavation, we have further broken down these different colors are for the different level of WBS that we are using. And under every item, there we are again giving a like a bottom up kind of a system. We are breaking it down to further sub activities there. And so under excavation, we have excavation and wrap. We have the tower basements, we have the non-basements, then dismantling and debris removal, protection, land protection and tree relocation, whatever activities there will be. Then from then on, you see there's the shear wall, then the grate slab. After that, from the fourth level, from 269, you will see that the breakdown is basically based on the resource, like aluminum shutter S1, S2, S3. Now, why we are doing this is basically because we are designated a particular set of shutter for a particular type of building. So when we schedule, not all the time we can schedule based on the major construction activities, but we can also schedule based on the resources. So shutter is a resource. So under shutter S1, you see there is tower 22 which is being constructed, and under S2 there is tower T7. Under S3 number 275, you can see there is tower T20. So every tower has its own set. Coming to number 285, see set S7, there are two towers because that set is for two towers. So we have planned in a way that after tower 34, it's going to move to tower 26. It's going to be used in two towers. Now, how do you know that? Move to the right hand side of number 286, 287 and 288. You see that there are these green bars. Those are the Gantt charts now we are talking about. This is the representation of a Gantt chart there where it shows the activities and the relationship. You can see the duration also at the top, activity name and the original duration, the start and finish. It's also giving, Primavera is giving me the duration there which we also need to assess. We need to input that, and it's going to give us the date. And Gantt chart is going to be generated automatically by the software. So these green bars are the activities, and one down, you see there is a red bar which indicates a critical activity. Now we have learned about critical path, and this activity is a critical activity. That's why Primavera is giving it in red. So that is basically construction of Tower 336. So if it gets delayed by even single day, the overall completion date will be delayed. So it shows the critical activities with the red bar. So this is about the baseline production there, how Primavera gives us this baseline, generates the schedule implementation process, and how do we understand, how do we read this baseline. There in the top we have the time scale, and down there we have the activities and the Gantt chart. So this is the resource histogram there. This is a special uh, feature of Primavera P6, which is not there in the other softwares. You get the stacked histogram and also the S curves there. You can see the resource names in the left there. You can see the cost accumulated in by the resources there due to the usage of the resources. So this is the plans, basically the planned cost budget there. And among the resources, you can see there is excavator, there is electrician, operator, field engineer, and mason. So excavator, we have earlier I said that we had excavation activities in this project, so we're using excavator. We had electrician, we require a mason for the construction works, we require field engineer to supervise those works. So we have all those basic resources in place, and you can see in this histogram, Primavera is giving us the stacked histogram with the per month cost of all the resources combined, as well as generating the S curve for each and every resource. So when we plot that with the planned to the actual cost, then we'll get the difference between the S curves. And Primavera can also give us that. So this is how we do the resource management, and then we can control based on the resource allocations as well. We can alter these resource allocation and change these graphs as per our requirement and the requirement of the project also. And now we come to the project customization, the importing and exporting data, generation of reports. So this is how we generate a report. This is one type of report in which we take an activity status, we monitor. This is basically the part of that monitoring and controlling part where we generate a report in which we get the activity names and we see the activity status. Now, if we compare it to the actual baseline, we can see whether it was supposed to have been started or not. So, or is it started or is it not started? It is showing some of the activities, it's showing not started there. So if we compare it with the baseline, maybe we can see that this activity would have started by now. As per actual, it has not. So then we need to give a special attention to those activities. And we can also customize these reports. We have to check for the critical activities as well. So we have to keep a special eye on those activities, whether they're starting in time or not, whether they're in progress. So all these report generation can also be done through P6. So it's very important to monitor and check all these reports on a very regular basis. So we'll have a status date also on the top left. You can see it 16th November when this status date was generated. When we generate a report 2 days later, we'll see the activity status of that particular time. So this is how we need to monitor and control. It is completely up to the manager, the scheduler, the planner, the consultant to see what their requirements are, how they are going to draft the WBS, and how they're going to schedule, how they're going to take the estimation and budgeting. But it is up to only then, if it's done, then the software. It also has to learn the efficient use of that software to give us the right results. And we also have to know how to use that software to our best advantage so that we can get the best out of that project and complete it successfully. Now, coming into the state of art, there we have a lot of specialized softwares in the market right now for project management and control. Primavera P6, MSP, Power Project are the most commonly used softwares. We can also do real-time collaboration and Android application in Project Plan 365. There, yes, you can do it through your mobile as well. You can do real-time collaboration with multiple number of team members. There's cloud-based network for portfolio management using Primavera. Yes, very commonly used globally now these days, where the top officials get to track all their projects in one under one single database there and also monitor them on a daily basis. There are also specialized risk analysis softwares like the Master. from Oracle Primavera. And also the another big trend is integration with the modeling softwares like 4D and 5D Beam there. So there are other softwares for that as well. So you can integrate those Beam softwares with the scheduling softwares to get the exact 4D and 5D model generation. Looking at the current industry trend, you can see there are around 7,798 companies. This is from the Enlift, but the majority of them are using Primavera Enterprise Project Portfolio Management. This is the cloud-based database management for Primavera, 24% of that. Then there is Redmine, Microsoft Project Server, PlanView. But Primavera is heading the list because most of the complex projects are handled through Primavera. Top level organizations tend to prefer Primavera more than the other softwares because of the utility of this software. And again, in terms of the countries you see on the right hand side, USA is the largest user of Primavera. Around 3,620 organizations are using it. Then there is United Kingdom, followed by India is also a very growing market. There is a global requirement uh, of this software everywhere in the world, and India being one of them. So where most of the organizations are now moving into this standard practices and also encouraging the learning of this software more for developing the skills of their project planning managers and planning engineers. So other companies also, other countries also like Canada, Australia, Brazil, UAE, Saudi Arabia. So all they are also using this software. You get a lot of use of P6 if you go to the Middle East as well. It's extensively used out there. Companies, top companies there. And then also in the construction, you can see lower down is the most used in construction only. It is effectively it's tailor-made for construction. Around 1,944 companies are using it, followed by the computer software, oil and energy, architecture and planning, civil engineering. So it's very much related to the civil engineering. It's tailor-made for project management in construction, Primavera, and India being the third largest user of Primavera EPPM. So this pretty much tells about the importance of this tool. Coming into the career opportunities for those who are interested to get into this, there are approximately 4 million project management roles created in India this decade. Uh, Employment for project management professionals with increase um, around by 60% by 2020, according to the PMI report. As per the Talent Gap report, by 2027, India will have the second largest number of project management oriented jobs in the world. It is around 218 lakh. PMI certification, you can, yes, in very important certification for project management professionals. You need to undertake the exam, get the PMI certification. You can earn the PDUs also through various courses online to develop yourself. These are the professional development unit. So you need to have a certain hour of experience as a planning or a project manager, or you need to undertake certain courses to increase those PDUs, and then you can apply for the PMI certification. There are top institutes also like NICMAR, RIC, L&T, IPM, so who are giving full-time masters and executive courses in project management, in construction specifically. So you can also enroll into them. Now the career opportunities and the job roles there, you can apply as a project manager, you can become a project management consultant, planning engineers and managers, you can become a freelance schedulers and planner, program manager, program management trainers like or the SMEs, BIM managers and expert construction managers. So there is a lot of opportunities for those who are trying to get into this field, who is trying to get into the specialization of project management. Because in order to apply your skills, in order to have a proper standard in place, the organization they're now encouraging their planners and professionals to understand, to get a proper courses done, to get an understanding of what the project management is, what the core is, and how to utilize these tools in order to get the best out of it. So it is a very encouraging field, and it is also globally very demanding and the growing demand all over the world for this particular field. And you see, even in the companies, you have the top companies like ACOM, JLL, Bechtel, CBRE, Jacobs, Parsons. So these are all top companies who hire project management professionals. So it's also a very encouraging figure. So all of the internationally recognized top companies. So absolutely now a very vital component now in civil engineering to have proper skills of project management and to learn the utilization of such softwares, have a robust project control in place, and to carry out projects very successfully.